I'm Alana Blahusky from the 1998 Women's Gold Medal Ice Hockey Team, and you are watching Power Play Break, the place to talk about pucks.
Hey everybody, it's Chris Riley again for the Power Play Break. We're joined today by two-time Stanley Cup winner Bob Errey of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Bob, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, appreciate it.
Let's go back now to your time in Peterborough as a young man. What were your first experiences like playing hockey as a kid? And how old were you when you got involved in the game?
Oh boy, we moved to Peterborough when I was about 8, started in Lindsay. And just there, like everybody else, we skated in the neighborhood rink, you know, with some old friends back there. Small town of Lindsay. My dad was in the radio business. We didn't have a lot of money, so you know, we just went out back, shoveled the driveways or shoveled the backyard, and skated where we could. You know, we had the Harry Howell, the great Harry Howell, and his nieces and nephews lived in the area, so they beat me up. I got a little bit tougher. We were able to play some good hockey together, and then I moved to Peterborough. And everybody played hockey in Peterborough, and I lived right beside a school. So they had a public works, you know, did the own rink, and we had 2 big, huge rinks. I didn't have to maintain it. I put my skates on in the house, went out and skated for like 4 hours, walked back, cried my eyes out when my toes unthawed. Mom rubbed the toes back together, but I did it each and every night, and it was great.
Now, were you playing organized at that point, or was just you were playing more shinny?
More shinny. I think it was more shinny. It was great. I think it's great for kids to do that. You know, you get the parents out of it. You know, they always want to get in there and kind of, you know, direct what you got to do. I think the greatest players are the ones that are able to improvise, do their own thing. You know, go out there, just play with the puck, and don't have to listen to all these rules and regulations. Go have fun, and that's the #1 thing in hockey, isn't it? You should have fun when you're doing it.
When did you start to play organized? When did your dad say, okay, Bob, you know, you're kind of getting a little bit of a rep around the neighborhood. It's time to get you into something a little bit more structured?
Yeah, I was like 6 or 7. I played on a church league team and went out there. And I remember playing at an old rink, North Crest Arena in Peterborough. Screen, the mesh wire in the back. It was just, you know, one of those old cold rinks. And yeah, I did that until I realized I could play all-star hockey, and then the travel started.
Now, as you're moving up a little bit here in the ranks of youth hockey, did you notice you were better than some of the other kids? I mean, some of the other guys we've had on the show, they said, some things came easier to me than other kids, and they said, for whatever reason, it just clicked. Did that happen for you?
I think it started, you know, the big tournament, first big one was a Pee Wee tournament, went to Quebec, everybody played. I played against, we beat Nepean, Steve Eiserman's hockey team in a double overtime situation. I was always a part of the wins, being on the ice. Then we played Brett Hull's team in the finals, the consolation side. They beat us. We were there for 10 days, had a great time. But, you know, looking at the names and those programs, and then, you know, and I, you know, played the power plays. I wasn't always the best player on the team at that point, maybe second or third best. And then finally in Bantam, we played a game against Trenton. I remember scoring 12 points, 7 goals, and 5 assists. It was like the first or second game of the season, and led the league in scoring that year, and realized at that point that you know, maybe I had a shot at something.
Now, Peterborough is in Canada such a historical and rich hockey tradition. A lot of people in the States don't know that. Was there a lot of pressure on the kids there, or was it just fun, you know, and kids just thought, oh, you know what, it's just part of the tradition here, it's woven into the whole fabric of the community?
Yeah, I think it was a hockey community. It was kind of like a little hockey town, you know. We had great coaches, starting with Scotty Bowman with the Petes, and, you know, great Roger Nielsen. It went on and on coaching-wise, including Jacques Martinez with our current Penguin hockey team. With the great players that made the NHL, you just seemed to follow along. I mean, everybody, just seemed the great players came out of Peterborough. Bob Gainey lived in Peterborough, Steve Larmer. I mean, it just went on and on. All these guys that made the National Hockey or were associated with the National Hockey League in some form or fashion. Montreal Canadiens, I know, used to come in and have training camps there. And
well, originally it was minor league for the Canadiens.
Yeah, so that's why they sent Scotty over there back in '65 or '6. So back when I was born. But you know, I think it was just part of the fabric of the community, as you mentioned, and I don't think it was any pressure. Teams all seemed to do pretty well when they went and traveled abroad. But You know, the best battles for Peterborough, Oshawa always.
Now, did Dad have any influence on you, or he just let the coaches take over?
He let the coach take over. He was always the businessman on the team. He was always organized. He was a newsman, interesting enough, but you know, detailed kind of guy.
Kept the books,
Yeah,
kept
kept
all
the
the money
books,
for
the
everything.
phone numbers. You know, there wasn't computers back then, so he kept the paperwork, knew how to do all that stuff, and really kind of let me do my own thing.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah, well, except for you know, when I took 2 hands off my stick, then he decided
Then he became,
that wasn't gonna happen.
then he became an expert all of a sudden?
Yes, and he taped my hands to the stick. That was it. I had to go out and practice with 2 hands taped to the stick for the whole darn practice. I don't know if it worked.
Any brothers, you know, with you at this point in the game? You know, your brothers play at all?
I have a brother 1 year younger and a sister 2. They both played. I wasn't that big, so that was always a knock against me. Used that to my advantage, as most guys that are a little smaller do, because they say, the heck with you guys, you know. I'm going to be able to play this game if I'm good enough, and you see that with a lot of young guys in the game now. I mean, they just have, you just have a lot of drive. You have to go out there and do it, be fast, hopefully, and stay out of the way. My brother was 1 year younger, but smaller than I was.
Now, about 14 or 15, are you getting looks from OHL or any kind of like high schools or secondary schools up there saying, hey, this kid Errey is pretty good, we got to take a look at him?
Yeah, U.S. colleges. I was a good student.
Was that stressed at home to be a good student?
Yeah, I think so, and it was by the Petes. When I went there, I was a scholastic player in Peterborough. I was fortunate, though, I didn't have to move schools because I was a Peterborough guy, and I was drafted by the Petes in the 4th round. But some other schools, Brown and Harvard, were knocking at the door. And
any interest of going, or did you?
I didn't know much about it. It was just, you know, I really didn't. I didn't have much interest. I was obviously felt good about the offers and appreciated them and those kind of things. I knew nothing about American hockey at that point and really just wanted to play in the OHL.
When we get back on the power play break, we're going to talk to Bob about his time in the OHL with the Peterborough Petes right after this.